Welcome back, although it was challenging to stay outside in the sun and socializing and networking because it's so important for a conference. However, we have to come back to our last part of this interesting, I think, conference. And we have a panel discussion with 4 distinguished panelists. The topic of the panel discussion is stakeholders' opinion, and in fact, it's a stakeholders discussion because we have in this panel 4 different professions, 4 different representatives from a journalist, a writer, a publisher, and a librarian. So how this panel discussion will start as follows. I'll say a few words about the CVs of the 4 panelists, and then we'll give them the chance to say a few words, a statement in 4 minutes, as a conclusion, as their thoughts about the topic. The topic I read again, the topic of this conference, e-book evolution, voices and vision for a legislative change. And then after the statement, probably they will have a question which will be addressed to the 4 of them. And the question is, it will be simple, I'll tell you later. And then we'll give the floor to the audience for discussion. We'll have how many? 40 minutes to the end. So I quickly start with a few words about our panelists. Lambrini Kouzeli, a journalist in Vima newspaper. She's a book critic and a book reviewer in Vima newspaper and a columnist in this newspaper about topics on book policy and libraries. We have Mr. Thodoris Georgakopoulos, who is a writer and a journalist too. He has worked as a columnist at magazines, newspapers, and digital media, and as the editorial director of The Anoisis, a non-for-profit think tank. And he's a columnist at Greek daily newspaper Kathimerini. So we have 2 of the most prominent Greek newspapers, Kathimerini and Vima. On my left side sits Mr. Nikos Argyris, who co-directs Ikaros Publishing. So he's a publisher. And he has been a member of the board of the Association of Greek Publishers and Booksellers. And he has been awarded by the Spanish state the official cross of the Order of Civil Merit for his contribution in the diffusion of Spanish culture in Greece. And last but not least is Ntina Kakali, who is the director of the Panteion University Library, where she has worked for many years. And she's a member of the board of the Association of Greek Academic Libraries and coordinator of the Amelie project Michalis mentioned before in his speech. So at first I give the floor to Lambrini for a brief statement of 4 minutes about the topic from their perspective. Each one will talk from her own perspective on this topic. So,
in Greek or English?
I would prefer English, okay. But it's up to you.
So, thank you, everyone, for this invitation to participate in this discussion panel. And I would like to congratulate the National Library of Greece, IFLA, and KR21 for this initiative. I'm very happy that this discussion takes place here in the National Library because its role and its mission is closely connected to initiatives and discussions like that. I will start with a comment concerning the second panel about AI, which is the buzzword of the day. It was just 10 days ago I was participating in a similar topic discussion. I was watching a discussion at the library of Getty Institute, where a representative of the British Library was explaining the use of AI, of machine learning in information sciences and in libraries. The British Library is known for incorporating, for making connections with the Alan Turing Institute. They host the institute in their facilities, and they are cooperating in creative, tailor-made tools, machine learning tools for libraries that can help library work, such as cataloging, which is very, very useful. It could be very, very useful for Greek libraries and the National Library mostly, and for documented, undocumented, identifying and documenting unidentified archival material from their collections. So there are very important, useful uses of AI in libraries today that don't have as much as legal implications and ethical implications as the one we discussed later about authorship and copyright. For the first panel about the e-books, people in Greece know that digital transformation in the public, in the business, the publishing business, is of very low rate. Many publishers don't even have a web page. E-shops are very rare, and that digital transformation in the domains of logistics, distribution, and all that happened or accelerated because of the pandemic. So the pandemic was a key moment and a key factor in accelerating this process. And inside this, in this context, we should discuss about e-books. Greek publishers are not very well into the digital era, and e-books is just one part of this transformation. A second comment I would like to make, and I'm very, very interested in reading the results of the survey. We don't have many such surveys. I think it's the first very methodical one on the, or Michalis, you can correct me on that. Or even at such a scale. And I would very much like to read all the results. For example, I'm very much interested to know what are the genres that are published in e-books in Greece. Very characteristic is that the books that are, and again, Michalis or the publishers here that are published e-books can correct me on this. E-books are another form of a print book. We don't have publishers, mainstream publishers, publishing e-books that have not appeared in print form. So what are the books that are appear only in digital form? Usually they are self-publications. So that's something that we could discuss at some point. What are the genres that are published obviously, some publishers publish their books in both print and e-book form, but others select the titles that will transform to an e-book. So what are their criteria and what are the genres that they prefer to circulate in e-book form? That is something that would be very interesting to know. And last comment is how this image that we have about users' response to e-books will change once the data from the survey in academic libraries are implemented in the survey. Because as Professor Panagiotopulos stressed, young people, highly educated, are the ones that make the use of buy and read e-books. So these are the populations that we find in academic libraries, young people of higher education, obviously, and people who usually have access to a pool of e-books. So what are the percentages of e-book use there? I would like to see. And the one last comment, what about an e-book depository in the National Library of Greece? Does the library obtains a copy of every e-book published just by law, just as happens with the print books? No. That's interesting. Maybe we will discuss about that, why it doesn't happen. So these are some points I would like to stress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lambrini. Quite interesting, and the comments and the questions you raised. We go on with our next panelist, Mr. Thodoris Giorgakopoulos, from the writer's point of view.
Well, I hope I can express the writer's point of view. This has been a very dense and very informative event so far. I'm not an expert in either ebooks or libraries, so do not expect my comments to be of equal value to what you've heard so far, just so we're clear. I am a reader, I am a writer, I am a user of libraries and ebooks, and so the only insight I could possibly add to the discussion is to try to provide the viewpoint of the user. And after thinking about the issue, after Mr. Glossiotis' kind invitation, I would like to also express some sort of frustration on how ebooks turned out and to question their future. So I panicked when I saw the presentations of the previous panel. I thought I had to have a presentation as well. So I made this presentation, which consists of nothing but photos of my daughter. So this is me. I'm trying to get my daughter to sleep. It was very challenging for a very long period of time. It took a while. Her Highness had to have very strict conditions in order to fall asleep. You had to be standing up. If you sat down, she'd know. You had to be constantly moving, even slightly. Darkness should prevail. And you had to be in this situation for like half an hour, and then maybe she would think about falling asleep. What you're seeing is I'm in front of the bookcase at home. I've propped an e-book device on a picture frame, and I'm reading a book, waiting for her to fall asleep. Without using hands, in the dark, there was no other way for me to spend my time constructively without staring in the darkness. So yeah, ebooks have been useful in my life in some very specific situations. Of course, after listening to full presentation on how electronic books help people with disabilities, my argument is stupid and deserves to be ridiculed. But it is what it is. Ebooks are good. However, here comes my frustration. I remember a time when electronic books were going to open up a whole universe of possibilities for authors, especially after the wide adoption of capacitive touch screens on devices like 15 years ago. Suddenly you could open up the two-dimensional world of a book and make it interactive, add audio, video, different components, gaming elements to all that. It would used to be a flat, text and image-based medium, was transformed into something new. That's what we were told, at least. We tried some amazing interactive demos on the early iPads. Some of you are too young to remember. It was very exciting for us, the old people, and we thought this is the future of publishing. Like, a whole new creative medium for people like me who tried to express things and ideas in every possible way. As it turned out, that revolution never came to pass. Those hybrid products never became very popular. It turned out that people who want to watch videos go to YouTube, people who want audio subscribe to podcasts, and people who want the gamification of the storytelling experience can actually play games. So the interactive revolution of ebooks never came to pass, but a version of ebooks did turn out to be viable products that I have used and I'm still using it in some cases. The devices are light, everything is common knowledge, they're very easy to read, very bright, excellent for note-taking, their batteries last for weeks. Each device can carry thousands of books. They are wonderful. They also can lower, as was mentioned, the barrier for self-publishing. It's less expensive to put out an ebook than a regular book, and they're very good. Okay, I thought that maybe they could end up replacing paper books at some point in the future, in the same way that the internet replaces newspapers and magazines. But the internet does the work of magazines and newspapers 10 times better. It provides news and short articles and photos in an unlimited fashion. Ebooks aren't 10 times better than paper books. Paper books are great technology. They have very high definition as well, even a higher definition. Their battery lasts forever. They're actually very good solid objects. They are tangible, also analog objects whose worth giant corporations cannot drag towards zero by definition, because they have actual inherent value as objects. So ebooks do the work like 20% better, maybe. So they won't replace paper books ever. As an author, I'm a little bit agnostic. As a reader, as I grow older, I find out that I prefer reading paper books, but that's not the same for everyone. It seems that in the past 10 years, and the publishers can correct us, we have reached some sort of equilibrium. There's a small percentage of readers who like reading ebooks, but it doesn't grow. The percentage doesn't get any bigger. We've reached some sort of equilibrium, and that is my question about the future. We've heard some examples about specific use cases where ebooks can be actually useful for specific subsets of the population. And I guess that's something important, something to celebrate. When it comes to libraries as well, I'm agnostic there as well. I'm for everything on this. Yes, we should do all of that. But I don't know if in 10 years from now we will have many more different things to talk about. We seem to have reached some sort of equilibrium. And that's my question about the future. We're reaching the end of this discussion. I don't know if we have time to provide an answer to that, but I would like to leave you with this and with 2 more photos of my daughter. Thank you so much.
Very cute. Thank you very much. Thank you both for your intuition and your thoughts. the other aspect of print versus electronic books. And now we need the aspect of the publisher, of the print book and the electronic book. So Mr. Nikos Argyris will share with us his thoughts on this topic.
Thank you very much. As a publisher and as a business that every publisher is, after all, we are always looking into the latest developments and the latest technology developments that allow us to do our job sometimes better or more effectively, or even to provide a better experience for our customers, which in this case are readers. Like Thodoris mentioned, when the e-book was introduced, we were given maybe a glimpse of a future and of possibilities that never came. I remember fiddling with all the tools that were made available at this time, trying to create myself an enhanced book that would include the poetry of Kiki Dimula and audio recordings of her reading her poems, and some also videos of her while reading poetry. This, in the early days, was I think something like exclusive to Apple devices and users and software, so we used that to create what we called an enhanced e-book. And then we found out that actually it would only play on iPads, and so only someone who used an iPad could use, and nobody really paid for that. I mean, it would be available only to a select few that for some reason would want to pay maybe a premium for something that included audio and video. As it turns out, 15 years later, we are producing EPUBs, straight text, nothing enhanced about it. And on the way, we are also discovering, and also we are eager to find out how we can use this technology to help people that are disabled or print disabled. One thing, I don't know if you know that on the iPads, if you read an ebook on an iPad, because Apple has these accessibility features for impaired people, you can actually make the iPad read the book. It's a mechanical voice, and it reads the text from the EPUB. It also works in Greek. So at one point we were given, someone called at the office and said, we've been using this, we are from this group of people that are visually impaired, and we really like that you publish your books on the Apple bookstore, because we can hear them. And I said, oh, I didn't know that you could do that, that's great. And they say, yes, but this book we wanted to read, we downloaded it and we bought it, and now we can't hear it, it's jargon, it's like a voice that doesn't make sense, and it's not Greek, it's like a Klingon or something. And I said, why is that? I don't know, I will look into it. And then I discovered that the ebook was in Polytoniko, the Greek punctual system that was used in the old days. So the computer could not read that, and it made just jargon sounds. So what I mean by all that is that as publishers, we are very often faced with the requests of people, and rightly so, of people who are impaired and would like access to information, access to books. Many times this comes from individuals, many times it's from institutions that ask us for material to provide to their registered members or users. But we lack some guidelines. We lack, what we always say is that we need standards, we need security measures that will protect our authors' intellectual property and our own property, online rights, so that we can provide this information to the users who need it and who want it without any reservation. So I think it's very important what the previous speakers talked about how this is hopefully heading somewhere, and the government and its various ministries have to work together with the National Library to produce these standards and have a very, very concrete and specific guideline on how to do this. So as publishers, we can, without any reserve, help all those people who would need access to this information. Ikaros, for what it's worth, has been producing ebooks since 2010. We publish everything on a digital format. It's EPUBs, and it's available through most platforms. We also would look forward into a ebook ecosystem that's lacking from our market and that's held back the expansion of this market pie. So, yeah, I think that's for now.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Argyris. I'm astonished from the different perspectives. It seems that there is much discussion, many things to be done. It's an experimental phase after 15 years since the creation, the innovation, the invention of the e-books. There are many things to be done. Let's listen to the librarian's perspective, Ntina.
I think that many aspects of the potential offered by electronic book in Greece have discussed here, but I think that we are in the start time. We have a lot of issues to discuss, and for me, as you expect, my participation in the discussion concerned the possibilities that the publication of electronic books offered us to make our libraries more inclusive. I'm referring to providing more reading material for people with brain disabilities. We all stand by people with disabilities. We want them to have access to knowledge, learning, and to participate in our educational community. But for some years after, they want to have their diploma by the university, not in the future after many, many years. I have 17 persons only in Panteion University that has only blind, their optical disability. Not only the number of brain disabilities. Even though some progress have been made in the legal framework, as Michalis said above, Marrakech Treaty, the Greek law, and etc. There are, I think that, and we can discuss with the publisher that we have standards. We have standards in force, and students with disabilities serve from us, but we want to have this cooperation with the publishers. For me and for my colleague, we found that the problem is the staff, the personnel. It's not very easy, as you have tried maybe, to transform in accessible form, in accessible format, the printing material. Of course, it has a procedure that it costs many hours from the librarians or the technicians to have this result. So I think that at the beginning of the publication of a book with a publisher, of course, the publisher who have a textbook and we discuss him from them. We want to have from them to have this in a ebook form. For all this person and for the preservation, of course, issues, not only for the problem of the disabilities. The consortium of Greek academic libraries, which are aware of the needs of students, don't ignore this problem and have, I think, to have the operation of accessible book model electronic library AMELIB, developed and has the necessary infrastructure at the level of service, technologies and policies to eliminate discrimination against people with disability and especially people with print disability. AMELIB provides a robust mechanism for protecting the intellectual property of digital objects in its collection. And of course, we expecting an invitation to meet with the publisher association for to demonstrate how our system operates and ensure security. I have write all this mechanism, but we have no time for now. About the standards. The standards are internationally recognized and can be found on the Accessible Book Consortium, which AMELIB is participating in it. Under CEAB consortium, ABC maintains 1 million, I think 1 million titles from books from 70 different languages. The first in Greek language is AMELIB with 3,000 titles, only 3,000 titles from Greece, from Greek language. It is unavailable that no one seeks to serve one group for people that ensure that interest and the sustainability of others within the same community. After all, who benefits from not protecting the interest of publisher? No one. Publisher for us is essential for the dominant paradigm being Greece, and we willing to collaborate to ensure that the electronic publications are accessible, paving the way for the more inclusive future. And for me, the e-books that are now is produced by Greek publishers are not accessible, are not with the standard, the international standard accessible. We can approve this with a mechanism of evaluating this accessibility, and we can help. We don't know, we don't want nothing, only to help for that. I think that all here is for us, for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ntina. Yeah, it's, you focused on the print disabled population of Greek academic libraries. I would like I have a question for you, a short question with a short answer. And then if we have a few more minutes, then the floor will be open to the audience. you presented your perspectives from the different professions you represent here. How do you think that libraries can contribute? And also, I'm sorry to mention, during the survey, it was mentioned that there are problems in reading, the reading habit and the attitude and so on. How do you think that libraries can contribute to the increase of reading e-books in Greece? What is the contribution of the libraries from your perspective to increase this attitude of reading e-books? Do you have any idea, Lambrini? Even the simplest idea for 1 minute.
I think it was mentioned by obtaining more e-books in their collections, by facilitating the access to the e-books, and by training their users in reading e-books. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, these are important contributions. Yeah, important suggestions for libraries. Mr. Giorgakopoulos?
I really can't think of anything innovative to, as an idea to offer to major libraries that do this work with print media and know how to promote book reading in communities, and they have been doing it for a very long time. I'm not sure if distinguishing the training children or adults into reading e-books as a goal in itself is very different than promoting reading in general. One could argue that maybe e-books are a more accessible way into the main goal that should be actually reading itself for communities or for parts of the population that are more accustomed to reading on screens. I'm not sure, I don't have data on that. Maybe e-books could be a gateway drug to reading any type of books. But I assume that there must have been studies on that. I'm not familiar with them. So maybe e-books could be used in that way, maybe more emphasis into e-books as a way to ease people off screens and into reading longer texts, which is a very big problem in most developed countries right now.
Thank you very much. This approach about screens, the screens problem is worldwide, I could say. Mr. Argyris, what is the publisher's opinion of the contribution of libraries to increasing?
If you allow me, I will go one level up from the libraries, and I say that as a society, we need we need our state and the government to support libraries. And libraries, in their turn, will find a way to make people read. What I mean is that we have so many libraries in Greece, especially school libraries, that are understaffed. They don't have collections. They do not update their collections. They have no funding, of course. They don't have dedicated staff. They don't have librarians. Usually it's someone from the teaching staff that runs the library on their spare time. So sometimes we mention like your economic class as a barrier to reading, but that would be, we could give access to everyone through a library without paying for reading, without paying for buying a book, just to lend a book, whether it's print or e-book, and that would build a population of readers. And in Greece, we have a very big problem in regards to that. So I would urge all who are involved to make their part towards stronger libraries, more funded libraries that would benefit everyone involved.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Argyris. And the librarians, the inner side of the library, what do you suggest, Ntina?
I think that no. In our library, another academic library, have access to 200,000 electronic books, mostly in English. And we check for amount of downloading every year of these books. So I proposed to the Greek publisher to have a platform, a unique platform, or a consortium like this, to be able to buy the access in Greek books. I think it's very simple for the future. So about the habits, it's important. I think that the Greek students, not something different from all the other students abroad. As we had a research with Panagiotis Kapos and Eleana Pandia, two researchers from the Panteion University, and we had questionnaires about how to read, how to want to read, want the print book or the book, how to read from the digital repositories, and etc. And we had seen that ebook is not the first in their. They don't want to continue to read in print, but we are in university with social science and humanities, and of course this answer is. It's more complicated in other technical university, but now after the pandemic, I see more the reading tables and PCs and more station of reading electronically, not only books and chairs and books, and we have 300 chairs seats. So I think that this is a change, and we must be able to have this platform, this any forms to preserve, to serve these needs of our readers. And libraries produce digital material. We have 20,000 digital theses on the master thesis in open access. So we have actions in that.
That means cooperation with the stakeholders. One of the stakeholders is the publishers for the libraries. I think, Giorgos, how do you think we can we take two questions from the audience if there is, Max? Yes, this is Gerasimidou. We have a mic.
Hi, I'm Despina Gerasimidou. I work for IFLA. My role is for the last 8 years, but these days I work on community mobilization and capacity building. I wasn't planning to talk today because it's really not my work area where I work, so the e-book and all that. But I see that it's like an octopus and it has its fingers on all the library matters that really are urgent these days. I was triggered by something that Michalis Kalamaras said, and then also the other Michalis panelist. So I want to change a little bit what Michalis said, print disabled. I want to slightly change the letters of the second word and make it displaced persons. So, and Michalis Kalamaras said that actually access to the library resources have people who have a tax number in Greece, and this is a bit problematic. well, just a challenge, of course, also that not only Greek libraries face, but also around the world. And so, because we're in the beginning of the discussion for ebooks and e-publishing, I think it's important for all you thinkers and people who advocate for policy making in this area to put the matter of displaced persons, how can they have also access to the ebooks? So refugees, asylum seekers, immigrants and migrants. Also, in which languages are the ebooks published in Greece? Are they like in Pashto and all other languages? We are in the forefront of this refugee crisis, which is the largest since the Second World War. And of course, well, needless to say that libraries are universal equitable access to all and to knowledge, for all people to knowledge and works of imagination. And all of us know these things. I don't need to repeat. With that, I wanted to say that IFLA is publishing the first ever guidelines to how libraries can support refugees and displaced people. Please don't receive this as a pure promotion of this product of IFLA, output of IFLA, but I hope it's a substantial contribution to the discussion. I think it's a serious one that, yeah, if it can be taken into consideration. And I think because it's growing and just a small fact that according to the Global Refugee Forum in 2023, the refugee numbers doubled since 2016, and I think it's growing and growing. So yeah, that's it. I wanted to make this as a comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Despina. So it's a contribution to the question about lacking of standards, as mentioned before. There are guidelines and standards for refugees in this case. One more question, and then we'll have the closing remarks. Yes, please.
Can you hear me? I'm Alexandros
Yes.
Vasiliakis. I work at the National and Technical University of Athens at the library. I'm a part of the steering committee for electronic resources of Healing. As Dina mentioned, one of the key suppliers and providers of electronic ebooks. We have 200,001 titles. Our downloads in the past 20 years were 8.6 million from students, university. We support research institutions. The Library of Greece is a member. The Academy of Athens is a member. The Parliament of the Library, of the Hellenic Parliament is a member. We have also supported the Kalipos project, an open access platform for Greek, but not only Greek, academic textbooks. They are also in English and French, and there are also translations of open access ebooks. I would like to point, my question is, I have seen also in other meetings, we are missing the administrative position. I was in another meeting in Demokritos the last few days about open science. We have many ministries involved. We have the Ministry of Education, we have the Ministry of Digital Governance, we have the Ministry of Development. There are a lot of players. We have also the publishers, we have journalists, and we have our audience. Those stakeholders are not aligned at the moment. As Spyros Athanasiou mentioned, there is a divergence of the stakeholders. And taking for our lovely IFLA colleagues, we are still in our silos. We are lacking in inclusivity, we are lacking in equity, we are lacking in many fields. So the question is how, all together as a community, we have standards, we have guidelines, we have best practices from IFLA, from our Librarians Association, we have projects and colleagues like Giorgos, like Michalis, and many others. What we lack is alignment. And what lack as alignment is from, let's say, institutions that are private, and more, we lack serious alignment of government policies. We also have law, as our lovely colleagues from the law. How exactly do we align on this? We are not missing anything. We are missing alignment. That's my question, my remark, and my question. How can we make that alignment possible in the next few years, not discuss in the next 4 years this thing again? Because I'm getting the same meetings, discussing the same thing, meeting all lovely colleagues. Thank you for the organization, but we need to align more closely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a food for thought, alignment, as you mentioned, partnership, getting together, sitting together, and making prudent decisions about the topic. I think we are close. We are reaching the end, and I would like to ask Giorgos for the closing remarks. And before that, I would like to thank the panelists, for their contribution first.
I would like to thank you all for your time. Here is 3 o'clock. I'm so sorry. I would like to thank personally the General Director of the National Library of Greece, who support this event and all this action, and we will continue to collaborate for further actions. I would like to thank IFLA, Mrs. President, Mrs. General Secretary. Thank you for being here. Listen to the thoughts of Greek librarians. We are part of the global community, and we feel part of that global community when we are meeting you, especially here. I would like to thank Stephen Weiber from KR21 Policy Committee for making this event and this study a reality. Thank you very much. I would like to thank all of you who gave us inspiration, good thoughts, and your time. Because in our time is more valuable sometimes. I would like to thank people behind the chairs there for their time as well. We are over. We know that. Thank you very much for your support and technical support. And I would like to announce in response that in 2025 we will organize something more considerate and more special for academic and research library with KR21 as well. This was mainly focused on public libraries and the right of citizens to have access. Let me, Mr. Argyris, just say something. I'm not going to begin the dialogue, but just one thing. It's not every disabled person able to buy an iPod.
Of course.
It's a good solution, but it's not the solution. The solution is on the libraries for everyone. And this is the guarantee of a democratic society, to provide access to everyone. I don't want to waste your time anymore. Thank you for your participation here, and stay tuned for the final results of the survey at the end of January 2025. Thank you all very much. And I'm sorry, I didn't mention, I forgot to thank Mrs. Eva Sermedzaki for an amazing moderation today.
Thank you.